And inside England, there is a small town called London. And inside North London, there is a street. And on this street is a house. And inside this house is a room. And this is the room where the story begins. So this is the room that I learned to walk in when I was this big, maybe this big. And I took my first steps in this room, but I also heard music for the first time in this room. And this was the space in which I learnt about sound and became completely and utterly enamored and delighted by the potential of it. And there was a feeling I had when I went into this room. And the feeling was as though all the walls in the room just disappeared. And there was this unlimited possibility. There was this huge potential. And everything was welcome. You know, you could incorporate anything. In this room, everything was safe. A really beautiful kind of space for me and a very important one. And the more I experimented with music, the more I got closer to this feeling. And I wanted to get this feeling into music and get it out there. And one of my first ever experiments was an album called In My Room. In My Room. Oh, thank you. And I made this album by myself in this little room, the very same room. And since then I've made 4 more albums, Jesse Volume 1, 2, 3 and 4. And these albums have been, in contrast, very collaborative. So in some ways, like the size of the room and the scale of the room has grown, and you're all in it. Because now the room is much bigger than it was before, even though it's still there, all the way over there, it's still there somewhere. The idea of it has grown and grown and grown. And on Jesse Volume 4, which came out earlier this year, I wanted to be not just a bit collaborative, but incredibly collaborative. And so I actually started to record the audiences at my shows. And for all of you who said that you were at that show in 2022, who was there again in 2022? So you actually play a really important part of this album. And you might not know this, but the first song of Jesse Volume 4 is called 100,000 Voices. We played it earlier on. And after the first minute or so of all these different sounds moving past you, there's the sound of the audience choir singing, it's like an A, right? And then the orchestra tunes to the choir. And then the whole album begins. So that A is so important. That A is you. That's Luxembourg. That's a Luxembourg A, nobody else. And so I'm so grateful to everybody who was at that show, because literally you made that album possible. If it wasn't for you, I would never have released the album. That was you. Thank you. It's very, very, very kind of you. And, you know, even though over the last few years I've travelled around the world so much, and I've played concerts, and I've written songs with people, and I've just lived life, I often think about this idea of the room still. I come back to the idea because all of us have a room of sorts, right? Some of us are lucky enough to have a real space, but some other people have it just inside yourself. We're living in a world right now where lots of things are moving and changing around, but I think that the world needs you, and the world needs you as you are, to really take your imagination seriously, you know, because the world that is interior to you is of immense importance, and nobody else has the experience that you have of the world, you know. So all I would say, if you were to ask me for advice, for some reason, I would say spend time with your world, with your inner world, and with your outer world, and transform your feeling into something. It might be music, it might be something else, it might be community, it might be friends, it might be family, but I think that's why we're here, you know. And it's an amazing pleasure to come to a place like Luxembourg, which is 80 hours walk away from home. It's a long way. But to see so many friendly faces and feel so much love in this room, it's amazing to be here on a Sunday in December in Luxembourg, of all places. There's nowhere else I'd rather be in the whole wide world, so thank you so much for coming.